Whew, I haven't done this much exercise in a long time. I'm pretty sore and there is a reason for it. This is the Huawei Watch GT Runner. It is similar to the GT3 and I'll tell you the differences in a second between those two watches. And why am I tired is because I have managed to use this to exercise. And I have to admit, smartwatches that kind of get you to record your exercise and your running, your cycling, whatever it might be, I think they certainly do help in keeping you going and continuing to do those exercises, that routine that you might want to try the New Year's resolution and build up your confidence across your body in regards to your fitness levels or strength levels, whatever it might mean. I reckon watches like these certainly help. So in today's video, I'm going to talk about the GT Watch Runner Edition. It is a GT3, but a little bit better for those who are doing exercises. And because of that, I went out and ran a lot. I am not a runner. I do not like running. I do cycle a lot though, and so a lot of my comments will come back to that, and a few of my comments will come to day-to-day use. And I think this watch has a very interesting place amongst all the other wearables right now, and Huawei has done an excellent job in building this. So spoiler alert, it's a great watch. And big thanks to Huawei for sending me this watch for review. Let's get started by rolling the intro.
Let's go through the specifications. The watch is about 46 millimeters, including the bezels, approximately 38 grams without the straps, and of course I have metal straps that are a bit heavier, but the ones that come with it are rubber and end up being about 50-50 too. The display is a 1.4-inch AMOLED 466 by 466 HD screen. It is absolutely beautiful and the blacks are incredible. As you can imagine, AMOLEDs, the black do not light up, so it's pure dark color. The case is a durable polymer fiber. In this case, it's a black. The strap is of course silicone, and this watch is full of incredible technology. It has 4 gigs of memory. In regards to the sensors, it has an accelerometer sensor, a gyroscope, a geomagnetic, and of course the optical heart rate sensor and an air pressure sensor. The charger is Qi compatible and is of course magnetic. It also has a waterproofing level of 5 ATM, which means it can resist water of up to 50 meters under the ISO standard. On the connectivity side, it has NFC, Bluetooth, GPS and GNSS, and a bunch of other GPS covering the entirety of the world. It has a built-in speaker, a microphone, and it can work between -20 degrees and +45. Now, because I'm in WA, +45 is a little bit close. Don't leave the watch outside in the scorching sun because it will get above 45. Lastly, the battery charge times are a little bit slow with about 3 to 4 hours full charge. However, the actual battery life is incredible at up to 14 days for normal use, and we'll talk about that in more detail in a second.
So I've been using this watch for 3 weeks, and it's been on my wrist for pretty much 3 weeks. That's right, the battery life on this is absolutely incredible. In those 3 weeks, I've charged it twice. Now, today, just to charge it up, and about 7 days ago. This has a battery life of about 14 days. Now, through my use, I think I got about 12 and a half days before I thought, okay, it's down to 10%. I'm gonna charge it because I might forget and I might want to sleep with it because this does also sleep tracking. We'll talk about that in a second. But yes, 14 days of what I would say is the typical use for somebody who rides a bike every second day, goes for a walk with the dog, and just does general things around the house and counts your step. The step tracking is fantastic, and of course the sports tracking. So let's talk about that because I think this watch is called the Runner, and hence it's all about sports, or at least running. Now, like I said, I'm not a runner, but I cycle a lot. I did go for a run and I absolutely hated it. And people who run, I admire you folks. Guys, running is tough. Cycling is a lot easier. Nonetheless, I've been doing cycling for 5 years, so I guess it makes sense. I've never run. Now, in regards to running, it has a very accurate heart rate monitor. I wore both my Apple Watch and this watch on both hands, and I did a few distances, about a couple of kilometers of running. I was puffed by the end. But what I noticed is that this one was much more true to life. When I came home and I tested it against an actual stationary heart rate monitor, I found this to to be the closest to it. So props to Huawei, they've made a sensor that's incredibly accurate. Now the other thing they have done for runners, and I actually noticed it very quickly when I was wearing my Apple Watch, was the weight. This is an absolute beast of weightlessness. It is lightweight. This plastic build is very tough, but it is very light, and of course it's very scratch resistant, both the glass and this plastic around. But as you can see, I have put a metal strap on it. I do like metal straps, but the rubber one that comes with it is good. I'm just not a big fan of rubber, but this one, this silicone seems alright. But if you're a runner, you probably want to use those rubber ones. But just so you know, this can fit any generic wrist strap, so you can use your own if you've used them in the past. There's a little clip to undo them. It's very easy. The cool thing is about this one is that it is interchangeable, so I was able to use this, and that means that I can have a watch that is both out in public and fancy looking, and I can still go for a run with it. The weight of this didn't bother me, as I'm used to a much heavier watch anyway. So starting an exercise, pretty easy. You select what you want and you press it, and then you tap another button to start. At first it took a little while to get used to. The OS was a bit strange to me. Everything had to be confirmed after you select it, but I had a few false starts where I actually tapped start an outdoor run, and then I ran about 1 kilometer before I realized it wasn't even tracking anything, so I had to press a button to start it. Now that is just part of the OS, and I know when I spoke to a runner who organizes the Perth Run Marathon, he did say that he likes to just get ready, set everything up, and then press and start running. So for runners, I think that makes sense. For me, when I cycle, I just want to tap and get on the bike. But because on a bike, my hands aren't free, it's hard to remember to press it again. But once you're used to it, no problem, tap, and off you go. Overall, once you do start it, it's fantastic. One thing I do recommend is turn off the voice notification of every time you hit 1 kilometer. I did about 30 kilometers the other day on the bike, and it was really frustrating. I had to pull over and turn it off. Every 1 kilometer, he would pop up and say, hey, you've done 1 kilometer at 5 minutes, blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, oh, come on, man. Like, I don't need to hear it every 1 kilometer. With that in mind, there is a speaker, a microphone, and the screen is AMOLED, which means that the blacks are fantastic. They don't light up. Those pixels just do not light up, and that's probably what gives the battery life such a kick. Only lights up what it needs to show, and if you keep it a nice black background with only minimal things, it'll last even longer. I do like a lot of the faces. I'm currently using a very minimalistic one with just the time and a heart rate, but there are more informative ones provided by Huawei. Now, a quick note on the actual app, the Health app, the Huawei Health. Now, of course, this is a third-party app. So if you're Android, it's okay, it connects pretty easily. If you're on Apple, it's a little bit more annoying. You have to allow it to sync to contacts, sync to GPS, sync to your phone, and a whole bunch of other things. It's a little bit frustrating and takes a little while to connect because it is a third-party application, and that is, of course, thanks to Apple. But once it's connected and set up, it tracks everything that you want it to track, and of course, you have all the information at your fingertips, how much you've been running, and a lot of really interesting information that I actually don't know what to do with, that a runner who's really passionate about their health would love to use. And of course, Huawei has a particular set of tools built into the Health app to track this at a level by level, seeing your progression over time. And that's actually really interesting. And that's what I mentioned at the start, is that when you use watch wearables like this to track your exercise and you track the progression, the micro differences in how you were 2 weeks ago, 2 months ago, a year ago, 2 years ago, and you see it today versus how you went before, that is the part where you really get value out of a product like this. And with a 2-week life span on the battery, it means you can wear it all the time and track every little bit. You just chuck it on and off you go. So let's talk about using it day to day as a smartwatch. First of all, the menus are absolutely smooth. The OS is fantastic. There is some really great features that make this just a fantastic smartwatch. Answering messages, viewing little emails, and of course talking on the watch is a blast. I don't think I've had a watch before that had such great speakers and such great microphones that I would actually be willing just to use this instead of the phone on loudspeaker. Fantastic. In fact, you can upload music onto here and then play it out loud, and it sounds bloody good. It's actually impressive how good the speakers are.
Until you fall that you
Now, taking it swimming, yes, I did. It has a 50-meter depth. I wasn't able to get that deep, but nonetheless, I got out and it was absolutely fine. There is a button to clear the moisture out of the speaker grill on the side. Now, there are a few more quality of life features on this watch that you may have only seen on things like the Apple Watch. Find My Phone on it, you press it and it works perfectly fine. It doesn't have to be an Apple device to work. And of course, it has the torch feature. It has a do not disturb control, so you can control a lot of your phone from here, even if it is Apple. So I was very impressed how well integrated it is into Apple, even though Apple is so dominant with their ecosystem. All right, final thoughts, and let's talk about the price, because this isn't cheap. Now, this watch is a large watch, 46 millimeters. It looks fantastic. You can change the bands. You can go out with it on the town, and then you can go running in your spare time, or if it's your passion, all the time. It'll track your exercises perfectly, and the sensors, the heart rate sensors, the oxygen sensors are all there, and they do their bit really, really well. The watch is extremely light, and people who go running a lot will love that feeling of almost having nothing there, especially with the provided silicone straps. And overall, this watch looks great. So the price, $590 right now. There's a link to Amazon below for you guys to check that out. It is pricey, but it also provides you everything you need in that category that a lot of watches like Garmin are competing in. And as a watch that is both stylish and sporty and so well built with a 2-week battery life, it's hard to say this isn't in my top pick for anyone who doesn't even exercise. Because of its lightweight structure, it is actually a really good watch to wear day to day. I wore it to sleep to track how many hours I get to sleep amongst my 10-week-old baby waking up, and it was really fascinating to see that it's only about 4 to 5 hours a night. So with that in mind, this watch is for people who want a really nice smartwatch that does everything a smartwatch does, a great battery life, and in case they want to start exercising, they can. But on the other hand, this is for those people who are already exercising, doing a lot of running, and want a fantastic watch that is going to be both used day to day and during those periods of extreme exercise, running or cycling or outdoor walking or climbing. This will capture all that, and of course at a pretty reasonable price compared to all the other wearables. So comparing this to the GT3, which is an all-metal build, it is a lot heavier. I just cannot recommend that watch. This is a much better choice at this time. So friends, thank you very much for watching. Make sure you like this video if you did. Big thanks to Huawei for sending me this watch for review, and of course, we'll see you all next time. Bye!